13K in 1 week with Amazon FBA. Sounds unreal, doesn't it? Well, today I'm actually going to show you how I did it and how you can do it too. So stay tuned for today's video and watch until the end. So let's start with preparation. Hitting these numbers in 1 week doesn't just come from luck. It comes from preparing in advance. It's something that I did from the start of September. I'm going to show you exactly what you should have done and what you can still do for future seasonal events. So in terms of preparation, I actually started, like I said, in September, looking for products and analyzing data, which showed me what I should be looking for when it comes to Christmas, especially in terms of stocking up early. So for example, a lot of my wholesale stock I got in to prepare for things like Prime Day, Black Friday. These are sort of on the run up towards Christmas, which also have high demand as well. It's not just Christmas, so remember that as well. In terms of wholesale, you can do things like credit terms with your suppliers where you can pay in 30-day time, because cash flow sometimes becomes quite difficult during the Christmas period. What you want to do is to make sure that you've got enough flowing, maybe from a job, another business, using credit and things like this. Remember also Amazon check-in times in terms of their fulfillment centers. It takes a little bit longer during Christmas, and you don't want to have any errors on that side where you're not in stock enough. Often where the opportunity arises is where newbie sellers and smaller sellers keep getting out of stock. They can't keep up with the demand. That's where you need to capitalize and take over that demand, supply it with all the products that you have and everything, and that's how you can capitalize a bit more. Now, another very important thing which I had to become quite comfortable with is not being scared to spend. Now, when it comes to Amazon, especially during a time like Christmas, you need to be feeding it, you need to be throwing in money. Don't throw it into products that aren't going to be good and products where the data doesn't show any sort of increase in demand, for example. You want to be quite selective as well. That's something I am still. I don't see the point of putting in loads of money into a whole storefront and there being dead stock sitting there. You want to have your cash flowing. So just make sure that you do invest in the right products, but when you do invest heavy. Be prepared to throw in money, be prepared to be broke for a few months, and then once Q4 is done, you can repay yourself after, but you need to do that during that period to maximize your profits. It's very, very important. And this is also for, seasonal times, maybe let's say during the summer, during, any time that there's an increase in demand and you have a product which can fulfill a really, really, really good amount of sales volume. That's when you need to plunge money in and be prepared to maybe take a hit short term, but long term gain. And another thing in terms of prep, which I did with a lot of my students, we did this on calls sort of weekly. We went over the use of Keeper. Now, Keeper is a very, very good software for analyzing data, especially past data and sales history. And when it comes to Keeper, you want to make sure that you're looking at last year's data to certain products. Are they going to pick up? And this will help you a lot. I found a lot of products which might not have been selling well in September, but if you look at the yearly data, you can see an increase, and those are the ones you want to attach yourself to. So make sure to use Keeper as well. Very, very important. You can do this throughout the year as well to see when things pick up, but I would always recommend using your software and using your data. That is how you prepare early. So when it came to types of products that I was going to be buying, the way I actually found out what products to go for is by a price drop monitor that I actually bought into my Discord. And this helped alert me on any price drops in stores and online as well. And then I could come into stores and just clean them up. Now, another thing that I learned was how to actually skimmage and narrow down sort of products on sites by using software such as Keeper, which I mentioned a few times today. A lot of my students know how we use Keeper to filter through websites, and it just saves you so much more time. Time is your most and biggest tool when it comes to Amazon FBA, as well as your capital. You want to make sure that you're being efficient with your time, especially if you're working a job and things like that. Last year when I was at uni, I had to be time efficient, so I learned all of these methods and developed all of these methods. So this is something that you need to do. And when you are in a position where you have a bit more capital, that's when you can delegate tasks, get a virtual assistant, a worker to go through these websites, go through these stores and things like that, and these leads that have been sent in, and then choose the right ones for you. All you have to do is press buy, maybe double check the analysis, but that is also kind of how to go for good products and how to find them. So I'm going to actually take you to one of the stores that I go to grab some seasonal items such as video games and toys and things like that. This has been responsible for me making a bunch of money on Amazon. I'm going to take you there. Come with me. So like I was saying, we can actually go to stores like Smith's and pick up things like video games. As you can see, there's a bunch of games here which are all reduced price and things like that. However, we don't just want to waste our time going into the stores and spending hours. We want to use the price drop monitors and the leads that are potentially sent or prior sourcing, then come into the stores, then clean them up. Know what days the offers are on, know when there are reduced prices, and you can capitalize this way, especially when it comes to seasonal items. And these video games, you'd be surprised, they fly, they sell really, really fast, and the volume only picks up, and a lot of people can't pick up a lot. So you should do a thing where you go around multiple stores, clean them up, and continue onwards like that. And when it comes to actually checking your profits, one thing you want to do is actually use the Amazon Seller app themselves. A lot of people use stuff like Seller Amp and so on, which is great, but you want to double check with the Amazon Seller app where you put in the product barcode. You can actually scan it. As you can see here, we can scan the product like this, and then it will come up for us. As you can see, product will come up for us. And then what we want to do is we want to calculate the revenue that we make, the profit that we make through Amazon, because sometimes the fees change. So make sure that you always do that and double check that way as well, because you don't want to avoid sending in products that actually aren't profitable because the software says so. This is free as well, so you can always just double check. Don't be lazy and go from there. Now, as you know, preparation is one thing, but actually getting that 13K takes a few strategies and a few things that you need to know and you need to manage. So this is exactly what I did to do so. So the first thing was pricing. Pricing was very important. The reason why pricing is important is because you need to be competitive. You need to be able to dominate listings if you want sales like this. And the way to do that, there's a few ways. You can have a worker who sort of changes your prices manually, or you can do that yourself. But as someone with that amount of sales volume, you know, it's difficult. So I have a repricing software called Profit Protector Pro. Again, I can sort of add it on the screen. You'll see, and you can have a look at it yourselves. It sort of manages your listings and your prices based on your criteria. And for me, this helps a lot because I'm very hands-off with pricing. I don't have to do anything. I set my minimum and maximum and it does the job for me. Now, another thing that's very important is also maintaining your margin. Now, sales and all of these things are great. Having a 5K day, 10K day is amazing in sales, but you want your profit margin to be sustainable and strong as well. There's no point doing 10K in sales but having 1K in profit, in my opinion. You're better off having good profit margins, maintaining your profit margins, and not always sacrificing that for sales. Obviously, there are some times where you can lower your margin, but only slightly. So try and maintain that, try and keep it, you know, high, because that's also your cash flow. That's how you scale. So remember that as well. It's not always about the screenshot and the numbers. It's about what's going into your bank account. Now, sometimes also there are one-time offers, especially when doing something called online arbitrage, where you're buying from retailers and even Amazon to Amazon as well. In that case, just buy as much as you can that you can expect to sell out, and be happy to hold your stock because you know it will sell out over time and no one else can jump back on that deal because it's expired. That's another way to have good margin, consistent sales and things like that. Being patient as well. So what next? After hitting these numbers and then hopefully hitting bigger numbers during Christmas, and you guys as well, all of you watching, hopefully you're going to hit some good results during this festive season. But what is the plan for January? Because not a lot of people do plan early, and I've seen a lot of sellers who have great quarter fours, which is the Christmas season, but then in January their sales sort of plummet. And what do you need to do in order to maintain that? Well, in my opinion, if you're someone who's doing online arbitrage right now, retail arbitrage, Amazon to Amazon, you want to be looking to get into wholesale to get that consistent, sustainable income monthly. You know, I do both. I do during seasonal periods, I'll do online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, Amazon to Amazon, but wholesale is always going throughout the year and it's consistent. So that's something that you want to build. That's something that I did last year. So make sure that you do that. Now, if you're someone who's doing wholesale and maybe you're doing your brand direct and all these things, and you've got a sustainable wholesale business right now and you're just sort of automating it and you're just reordering, so someone like me, you want to be looking at private label. So for me, I'm looking to do private label from the new year, which is creating your own brand. Again, very sustainable, and you're building something long term. Now, I'm planning to document this on my TikTok as well, so make sure that you follow. I'm going to be hopefully documenting my private label journey from day one to launching my own brand, because this is another very, very sustainable business model on Amazon. Requires a bit more capital, which is why I'm saying transition from wholesale to private label. But those of you who are probably doing the arbitrage methods right now, look to get into wholesale. And if you need help with that, then you know where to come to. Make sure to come to SS University and learn the wholesale method that has helped many, many students, and me myself are doing, to do very, very good numbers per month. Now, another thing you want to do is to make sure that you do take a break. You do reward yourself. This time last year when I had my best month in Christmas, I rewarded myself. This year I'm going to be rewarding myself going on holiday, and this is something that will help you see the progress that you're making as well. Sometimes all we see is numbers on the screen. You want to turn this into actuality and actual experiences. Sometimes we can get trapped in just seeing numbers. So make sure that you do take some money to enjoy yourself, but the rest, make sure to reinvest and look to automate things a bit more. If you're doing online arbitrage right now, retail arbitrage, Amazon to Amazon, and you've had a good Q4, then get a virtual assistant. A virtual assistant is someone who is a worker who works 8 hours a day for you. You just need to pay their wages. Now, in order to get this, we actually help provide them in SS University. So if you're interested, I'll leave the Discord link below. Make sure you're there and you can get in contact with us. And this will help you automate your business. Me, myself, I've got virtual assistants now helping me run my business. It's important to have them once you know what you're doing. So if you're in that position, then just make sure that you get one so that you can start maybe doing wholesale. You can offload meaningless tasks such as sourcing, going through websites, going through storefronts. Get a worker to do that, and then you can scale quicker. That's something that I would recommend, so make sure you're doing that. And the last thing is generally just trust the process. This time last year, I think I did a 10K month and I was so happy. Now I'm doing it per week. So make sure you know you're trusting the process and you believe in yourself. Remember, if you're looking to start or looking to scale, it all comes down to consistent effort, discipline and planning. Just trust the process, work hard and rewards will come your way. And I hope to see you in the free community, asking as many questions as possible. Reach out to me as well. I'll leave all the links below. And make sure to subscribe, like the video, drop a comment on how your Q4 is going. And I hope to see you smash all your targets and hit your goals.